no. A trans inmate impregnates 2 inmates at an all-women's prison. The best part of this is this supposed trans inmate not only was in jail for killing her foster father, but also killed one of the women that she got pregnant in prison. There's that. The other woman that got pregnant is set to give birth in the fall. And all I can say is, what in the is going on in this world? Social justice, equality, equity. For those of you who are confused as to how a woman in prison could even get pregnant, let me catch up on a little bit of the new laws in this country. Over the last few years, more woke cities and states have been putting new laws into practice. These laws are trans inclusive, and they are now even in places like prisons. Now, while in some very rare cases, of course, this is going to help actual trans women who would be safer in a women's prison, and they would be at much higher risk in a male prison. And I've said this before, but it also opens up the possibility of male predators being able to be predators. One thing I've also noticed about this story that's kind of pissing me off is that the media, of course, left-wing media, which is most media, is covering this story and saying that it was consensual sex. I thought that any type of sex in prison wasn't considered to be consensual. Why has that changed now? Because it's a trans person and trans people can do no wrong. Anybody that's oppressed gets like a free pass. The 800 inmate facility began housing transgender women, including those that have yet to undergo gender reassignment surgery, meaning bottom surgery, last year after a lawsuit brought by an inmate. I'm assuming that person was transgender. It now has 27 trans prisoners. New Jersey's Department of Corrections admitted on Tuesday that 2 women prisoners have become pregnant after having sex with a transgender woman at the state's prison, which is the only women's prison in the state. Minor, who is the trans woman in question, has admitted online that she is responsible for both pregnancies. Whew. Okay, so I have a very special guest to talk more about this and to talk more about female rights and, of course, the safety of actual trans women and not male predators. She runs an organization called Women to Women. What's your name? What's the organization that you run?
My name is Amy Ichikawa, and I'm the founder and the executive director of Women to Women out of LA.
And what does your organization focus on?
Well, initially, our main purpose was to resource hub for reentry services that are dignified, to assist with parole suitability hearing preparation. Through, the last 12 months, it's become very advocacy focused. Women in prison don't really have a voice, and the voices they do have aren't exactly interpreted truthfully. That's my goal, to tell the truth, what they want me to say, regardless of whether I agree with it or not.
I love that. So living in California, I'm assuming that a lot of this stuff that you have to deal with is, quote, very progressive stuff, which is actually regressive. I think both of us agree with that. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's what this video is about. It's about the trans women in prison, specifically the trans woman that got 2 women in prison pregnant. One of them was killed. It's a lot right now. More and more people are identifying as trans to get an easier ride through prison.
The state of California has almost 300, I think 297 people that are currently waiting to transfer from the men's prison to the women's prison. They put their requests in, those are pending. 33.8% of those people are sex offenders. So
wow. So 1 out of 3.
This is a misrepresentation, of a lot of things. It's a different genre of people that we're getting statistics from, People are taking into account the fact that this system without guardrails or a safety net was going to be entirely manipulated. It's not even being taken advantage of. It's being used exactly how it was designed, which is poorly. It's outrageous that you could make something so specifically effectual to the female population and exclude them from the entire creation. We could have avoided a lot of this stuff.
When you give a definition, and the definition is so broad that anybody can fit under this umbrella of what a woman is these days. People that are terrible people that are in prison in the first place, that are guilty for being that are in prison because they're guilty, they're going to take advantage of something like this. And this is what we're seeing more and more of. We've seen it in the UK. It started in the UK, and now it's making its way over to the blue states in the United States.
There's no requirement for surgery, hormone replacement. Transfer requests can't be denied on the basis of physical attributes like genitalia, sexual orientation, or criminal history. So if you add that all together, guys with dicks with serial rapists on their rap sheets who are heterosexual are qualified to go over there. You could say you're gender fluid. Anybody who fits who identifies outside of the normal gender, not normal, the traditional gender spectrum,
right, man or woman.
Yeah, you're good to go. You could be intersex. I think they use so many terms: intersex, mayhu, two-spirit. Basically, I think it specifically said at the end, anything gender fluid. It left a really, really big hole for everybody to just dive in. Except, this is crazy, nobody's transferring to the men's prison.
I wonder why, right? You'll never see trans men fighting to be in men's spaces. Never in sports, never in prisons. So why are we always seeing trans women? I mean, some trans women, obviously, right? We're going to vouch for them. Some trans women are legit. Of course, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making the definition of woman so broad that anybody, including all of these predators, 33% apparently of these supposed trans people, are now going to have easy access to biological women and trans women.
Yes, and that's what I tried to stress from the very beginning. That's so serious. The people that are supposed to be getting relief from the predators are now having to live with them because the predators have the same opportunities as they do. And I was like, what do I do? So
it's sad. Now, I know that you're talking with a lot of these people and you highlighted some of the facts. What would your idea be to fix this issue? Because obviously you need to tell the government because they don't know what they're doing.
No, not at all. They've got to definitely put some requirement. There have to be certain factors in a person's, profile that would completely eliminate the possibility of them transferring to the facility. And number one would be history of crime, violence against women.
Yeah, you're a sex offender? F you, stay in the men's prison.
Yeah, it's an offense to all parties involved. Don't put the person in a situation to reoffend, and not that that's my priority, but the women's safety is my priority. Don't subject anybody to this because this person's feelings is being taken far more seriously than anybody else's physical safety, mental health, any of that.
Yes. Where can people check out your work?
At www.iiwoman.org. II is for two.
Right. Women to women. All right, so go check it out, guys. Thank you so much. Honestly, how did people running these operations not see this coming? There is a pun in there. Don't want to get into it. I've said this in tons of videos before, and I've even hinted at it in this video itself. But when you open up the definition of what a woman is, yes, it helps trans women who are actually trans women live their best lives. It allows them to have legal documents changed, surgeries, hormones. It also allows them to have specific laws in place to protect them. All things that can help an actual transgender person live a better life, a healthier life, right? But what it also does in this case, of course, is leave a big gaping hole for predators to sneak their way in, to slither their way in there. In more ways, no, I'm not gonna go there. Ew, it's disgusting. And listen, while some people don't want to hear this, and I'm gonna get for making this video anyway, yes, most predators are men that are born male, but that doesn't mean that people that are actually transgender women can't also be predators, just like some gay men are predators, some lesbians are predators, some black people are predators, like minorities can be predators. Listen to this disgusting headline coming out of the UK this week. Ex-soldier exposed her penis and used wheelie bin, I don't even know what a wheelie bin is, as a sex toy in public. Supposedly a trans sex offender lifted her skirt exposing herself 3 times in one day. One time wasn't enough for you. The truth is, this isn't something that you see females doing nearly as much as males. And if you look at the comments from people on the far left on these posts, on these articles, they seem to care more about the misgendering of this trans person than the fact that they just exposed themselves, very possibly in front of children in public. Chloe Thompson, who is 42 years old, was caught rubbing herself on a public wheelie bin before using a sex toy on herself in an alley in Middleborough, Teesside, on August 13th last year. Not surprisingly, this person was already on the sex offender list. Apparently they had, let me get this right, 17 convictions for 22 offenses, including assaulting an underage female in 2011. Color me surprised. Absolutely disgusting behavior. I mean, this is what feminists and TERFs have been warning you guys about for years. The fact is, this is a very male thing. To feel entitled to exposing yourself to others in public, sending dick pics, that kind of thing. To feel entitled to women's spaces and women's bodies is a very male thing. This might be a bit of a topic change, but I wanted to talk about this for a second because this story actually really upset me. A gay couple was denied IVF benefits, meaning that their surrogate denied them, basically. And they have filed a complaint for discrimination. And girl, I just want to say to these two gay men, girl, as gay as I am and as good at being gay as I am, I still don't feel entitled to any woman's body. Just like somebody never owes anybody their body for sex, nobody owes anybody their body to help them start a family or to help them have kids. I also wanted to touch on this subject just a little tiny bit more because of the heat my friend Dave Rubin got over the past month or so about him and his partner, who are married, are also using a surrogate for their family. I just want to make this clear that I don't think this is the same situation at all. Dave and his partner, I think, who's also funnily enough named David, they asked the woman, they're paying the woman, she accepted. It's her body, her choice, in my opinion. It's not the same story at all. I have no issues with this, but I'm gonna bring it up because I know people wanted me to comment on it. Somebody saying, I hate that these men feel entitled to rent out a woman's womb, and you're supposed to just clap along and pretend that it's a perfectly normal and decent thing to do because nobody wants to be called homophobic. Again, no problem with this. I think that her body, her choice. If this woman wants to be a surrogate for this wonderful couple, so be it. It's not the same thing. And I don't think Dave and his husband David feel entitled. This story also came out this week that is also a very super gray area in regards to trans police officers or anybody who has the right to physically search other people, I guess, like security officers or people that work for the airport security. It says trans police officers who were born male and identify as female can search women now. And this is coming out of the UK again. Women can be strip searched by transgender police officers who were born men or could be accused of a hate incident if they refuse. Instead of repeating talking points that I've already mentioned in this video, I thought it would be interesting to hear a quote from a ex-police officer from the UK that had a lot to say about this. Of course, she's female, she's a woman. Listen to what she had to say. Women are not even an afterthought in this guidance. They are completely non-existent. Everything is geared towards the sensitivities of the officer doing the searching. They claim they're trying to be inclusive, but this isn't inclusive of women and it doesn't respect their sex. Very interesting point being made here. I'm not gonna lie. Think about it. How often are biological women ever asked about their feelings in this situation, in any situation regarding transgender stuff? Why is the emphasis always put on the feelings of said trans people and never on the feelings or the safety of biological women? In sports, in changing rooms, in prisons, now at police stations, women and our feelings are always an afterthought or not thought of at all. And remember, this article that I'm about to read just came out a few months ago. The absurdity of police logging rapists as women. Police have been criticized for saying that they will record rapes by offenders with male genitalia as being committed by a woman if the attacker, quote, identifies as female. Police in Scotland said that they would log rapes as being carried out by a woman if the accused person insists, even if they legally have not changed their gender. Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, dog. Channeling Randy Jackson here. You ever see how interesting it is when a trans person is the victim of a crime? They will always put like trans woman or trans man or non-binary person in the title, but whenever a trans person or a non-binary person is the offender in the crime, they'll just put woman or man. They'll never put trans woman or trans man. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Love this tweet, and I'm gonna end the video, I think, with this. Transphobic today simply means pro-woman. It's disingenuous. It isn't enough to support their rights, you have to put them above women, biological women. Okay, these things exist 100%, but not in the numbers the constant accusations suggest. My issue was and is never with actual trans women who simply want to live their best lives and actually have gender dysphoria and live their lives socially and physically to the best of their ability as women. My issue has and will always be with predators. And the truth is, when you don't have a significant definition or a specific definition of what a trans woman is or what a trans person is, you leave the door way open, boo. You leave it way open. There will always be way more people taking advantage of this that are predators than there are trans women who don't pass or refuse to pass or can't pass that want to live their lives as women. And that's just the truth. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you are new, and go and follow me on my OnlyFans page. I post there every day content that you are not allowed to see on any other platform for many, many different reasons, of course. And I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you. Love yourselves. Bye.